For the record, this is what happens when you're trying to record a video and technology says fuck you. You end up reinstalling your VM because somehow your virtual hard disk has become corrupt. Somehow. I don't even know how. Don't ask. Yeah, don't mind me just reinstalling my fucking virtual machine. Oh, this is so unfortunate. I've passed this virtual machine back and forth like a dozen times. It's probably why it's corrupt, to be honest. Oh, man. This shouldn't even be a thing. This really shouldn't be a thing. But it is. So now we get to sit here and suffer. Because what's worse is I'll probably still have to install VirtualBox drivers too, because I had that all set up. So fuck me, I guess. So here we are again. A lot of technical difficulties. Don't worry, you'll see me later. The Debian version went so much better. This was my fault. I found out late last night that I screwed up, and when I was transferring the VM, I canceled it because of impatience, which corrupted the virtual hard disk. Don't do that. So we're going to go ahead and log in with my super secure password. And this is a fresh VM. I did this from scratch, and so everything should be working. Virtual drivers are working. Everything's happy and hunky-dory. So I'm going to give it a minute. I happen to know for a fact that Mint update runs in the background. If you try to open it too soon, it will kill itself. But we're going to go to the update manager. And we're going to go to Linux kernels. And again, like my previous video, which I know the audio was pretty borked, so excuse me. Like my previous video, I know my audio was pretty borked, so I'm going to try to kind of step through things as I would. Just know, when you're moving, especially with proprietary drivers, jumping kernels could be a problem. And so what we're going to do is, you see we're on the 6.8 branch, and this is what's currently active. I do typically recommend every 6 months to come in here and process out other kernels. I think that's totally fair. We grab this 6.11 kernel. I just grab whatever's the latest and queue it. And in this case, it's 6.11. We'll get whatever the hardware enablement stack is. So for Ubuntu right now, that's 6.11 for 2404, which is what Mint is based on. Later this year, we should have 6.14 pull through, I think. I don't know. We'll find out. But I believe that's how that's going to work. This is kind of a new process for me as well. And we're going to perform queued actions. We want that 6.11 kernel. We're going to say continue. We're going to type in our password. And then it's going to download the headers and the kernel itself, which is pretty slick. This is about as easy as it gets. I believe on mainline Ubuntu, you got to use a kernel, mainline kernel PPA, and a tool, or if you know the CLI. I don't actually know the CLI per se with Ubuntu, but I'm pretty sure you're just installing Linux-HWE. In fact, while this is unpacking, we could actually do that. Probably HWE star, yeah. And I know there's another kernel that Linux-OEM, I believe, is like the OEM kernel. Yeah, because there's like an Ubuntu 2404 A, B, C. This is how you used to have to do it. Was you used to have to come in and grab these packages, and I'm actually curious. I don't actually recommend doing these anymore. You should stick with the hardware enablement kernel. But I'm curious, what kernel is the OEMB package? Okay, it's 6.11, isn't it? I just saw it at the corner of my eye. 6.11. So, yeah, you've no need to do the Linux OEM kernels anymore. You should do the hardware enablement kernel. It'll get you the most drivers and support that you need. Don't need to do anything with Linux firmware or anything like that. That's kind of all brought in just naturally. And Ubuntu does a pretty good job keeping that up to date. So you can see we're installed. So I'm going to go ahead and reboot. And this shouldn't take too long. This virtual machine's actually behaving itself. Unlike some. I was so dumb on my part. I can't believe I didn't realize that. I won't be doing it again, for the record. And we'll pop back in. And then there we go. Looks like we've even still got hardware acceleration. And if we pop this up and do a uname A, we're now sitting on a 6.11 kernel, which is exactly how I have my production stuff running right now. Now, one thing I will note, it will ask you to download another 6.11 package. I'm not sure why it doesn't. I think it's just some of the libraries that need to come with it. It's like libclang, something with the hardware enablement. I'm not exactly sure. But it's some stuff that got missed. So always let it do that. And what you want to do after you've done sufficient testing is to actually come in and remove your old kernel. You don't necessarily need to keep this around. I keep a rule of 3. I keep my current kernel, I keep one back, and I keep one back from that, especially if it's production. So for this VM, I will queue the removal of both 6.8 kernels that are installed. And once that looks good, we'll perform queued actions, we'll remove. And this is mostly for space reasons. And it's funny, if you've had a Linux install for a long time, you'll actually see a lot of your previous kernels showing up in the side, which is kind of hilarious. So like I have one install that goes all the way down to 5.4 because that was a Mint 20 install, which is kind of neat. Totally unnecessary, but kind of neat. And yeah, even with a normal install, I'd come in every 6 months and just clean this up, you know, knock out a few of these. Because even with the update manager being told, I forgot you have to close this window. In the preferences, in automation, you can tell it to remove obsolete kernel and dependencies. Even being told to do that, it doesn't always do that. So it doesn't always get everything. So sometimes you have to go in and do it. But that's mostly if you've got a long-term install. Yeah, it's just a really good idea. So that's the Mint side. Why don't we jump on over to the Debian edition side, where things are slightly more complicated. Get logged in here with my super secure password. It's definitely not 123. Don't put words in my mouth. So, doing the Debian edition slightly more complicated. And it's slightly more complicated for many reasons. Notably, we don't have a pretty tool anymore. To do all the pretty things that, yeah, we don't have a tool anymore to do all the cool stuff we just did in the main Mint edition. So, I can show you, if I go into Etsy, apt sources, And we'll go ahead and do a nano into the official sources. And I expand this out. You will see we have already got the main Linux Mint, and we got bookworm backports, and that's what we want. Control X to get out of there. So we don't need to do any of this adding sources stuff. Debian Wiki is usually a pretty good place to go. So it's really just an apt install bookworm backports package. When you can type correctly. And I always forget. Yeah, it's Linux image 64. 1, 2, 3, our super secure password. And it's going to say we can get the 612 kernel. And I'm going to go ahead and say yes. So it's going to download that. Now, one of the other things I want to get is the Linux-firmware Git. And that's going to take a few minutes, so we'll go ahead and stop this and we'll restart the recording once this is kind of sorted out. But okay, so that finally got done. And so now we need to get the latest Linux firmware. And this is going to also take a moment. But the reason why you do that is because you just installed a newer kernel. You need firmware to go with that kernel. Otherwise, it's just not going to work. So those are the two things you pretty much got to do to get it working. And once that's all installed and you reboot, you're just going to boot into the new kernel. Looks like it might take a minute. I'd actually go look up the Linux kernel Git. You can actually just go get the tarballs of it if you really want to, but it's not something I would do. But I couldn't remember for the life of me what the name of the backports kernel was. I had to go look it up. But yeah, Debian Wiki for the win here. I mean, they are pretty much fantastic to deal with. And we're just going to let this roll out, and when it's done, I guess we'll reboot, and we'll find out if I know what I'm doing. Yes, I love my firmware unpacking.
Oh my.
Oh, this always takes forever though. It's mostly because it's virtualized. It would be slightly better on hardware. It's just is what it is. I mean, I gave this thing 8 gigs of RAM and 4 threads. Could have probably given it more threads, but since I'm breaking the fourth wall, having to reinstall my Mint virtual machine so I can do the first part of the video, I need threads to do that. And I don't know why the graphics were laggy. VirtualBox, never change. You work great until I need you to work, and then you decide to spit in my face. Oh well. We'll take a look at it after the drivers and crap get installed, but it's still annoying. Okay, so if we've not screwed everything up, we should just be able to reboot. And we should have a new kernel to play with. In theory. Let's see if VirtualBox wants to be nice to me today. Loading kernel 6.12.12 BPO. That's a good sign. Something about VMW graphics seems to be running on an unsupported hypervisor. Let's say it's not a problem. I'm kind of in a I don't really care mood. I just want my Minty to boot up. Oh, oh. One, two, three. Oh no, I told everyone my password to my VM. It's a crime. And there we go. I've got a newer kernel. Now what I'd like to know, let me shut this down. Because I'd like to see if I go into VirtualBox settings, not for Mint, for Mint Debian. Go into display, we're going to enable it and give it 256 megs. Give it 128 megs. So enabled 3D acceleration. Does this work now? Yes. You may go full screen on me. Because I have VirtualBox drivers installed. Whether they need reinstalled or not, I don't know. Same error as before, I suppose. Oh well, we're gonna load. And do we have hardware acceleration? Maybe. It always takes a minute to load. Oh, that looked like hardware acceleration. Yep, that's hardware accelerated. Yep. We got it. I even have network. Because we did the new Linux-firmware package. We'll even have working graphics drivers, we've got working firmware and whatnot for things like Wi-Fi devices and whatnot. It's not as important to this virtual machine, but it could be important to you. So sorry about the borked audio the first time around. Even this video is getting kind of jacked around, so hopefully this kind of makes up for a really messed up video the other day, and we'll try not to do that again. So I'll catch you later.